What is going on, my people? It is your main man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. I guess y'all have noticed there's no music to start today's show. Today's show is going to be an old school version of 15 minutes of finance, no added production value. The production team is on vacation. Plus, I just wanted to go old school today because I'm pissed at Wells Fargo, and I'm here to let you cats know about it. So there'll be no go or no go. There'll be no three tips. Today is just straight your boy Tank giving it to you raw, no chaser, as I always do on this platform. And you guys know that it is the last Wednesday of the month. So tonight we will have two dynamic brothers joining me as we talk about dads, the dollar and cents of being dad, how it is to be a father. I got two African-American brothers on, so of course we'll be talking about Black fathers, but you guys know how I get down. Half my friends are of various ethnic backgrounds. One of my best friends, my boy Devlin, is an excellent dad. He was not available for tonight, or I would have had him on here too. So it's not just about Black dads, it's about being dad tonight, you know, in honor of Father's Day this month. And also in honor of Pride Month, I want to say hi and hello to all my friends who are either lesbian, gay, trans, bi, anything. You know, we're an all-inclusive platform here on Wealth Our Way, and we love every last one of every kind of people. With that being said, I ain't got no love for Wells Fargo. Now, let me break it down why I feel this way. I'm going to talk about how they've dealt with me personally, how they've dealt with my businesses, and then I'm going to talk about just Wells Fargo at large. They are a corporate criminal that needs to be stopped. Some of you may know these things. Some of you may not. I'm not just going to give you Tank's opinion. I got some facts. I did some research. Also, if you have time, there is a program on Netflix. I think it's called Dirty Money. It's a series, and they cover various people and entities that just done some dirty things with money. Wells Fargo has their own episode because they get down in a criminal way. And according to, as I was doing my research, I was just blown away. They won't stop. They won't stop. Year after year after year, they're penalized, they're fined, they're reprimanded. They realize it's just the cost of doing business for them. They don't care how they get down, apparently. So I just want to go out there. I'm going to get a t-shirt made, a big man t-shirt that says, I hate Wells Fargo. I might not do the hate part. I was actually going to call today's episode Why I Hate Wells Fargo. But those of you who know me, I'm not about hate. I'm about love. So I use dislike. I may get a shirt that says I dislike Wells Fargo. I don't know. Or Wells Fargo must be stopped. You guys let me know what I should get on the shirt, but I'm going to start wearing it every time I come on 15 Minutes of Finance because they have worked my last nerve. Let me talk about what happened today at Wells Fargo, and then I'll just go back. So I have a business account, a business checking account at Wells Fargo. My wife has a business checking account at Wells Fargo. A little while back, maybe 3-4 months ago, I went to get some cash out of an ATM from my business account, and I saw a fee on my statement for $9. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I used a Wells Fargo ATM. $9 is a crazy fee anyway for getting money out. What is going on? And I went to the branch, and they explained to me that that last ATM withdrawal that I had did put me over $5,000 of cash in or out of my business account in the last 30 days. And they have a limit on the account that I had of $5,000 of cash. If you transact at the teller window, an ATM, anything involving cash, they're keeping track of it. Once you get over $5,000, they charge you 30 cents per $100. I don't know what it is. I feel the need to remind you guys what the business of banking is and how banks make their money primarily. Banks make their money by taking in deposits, taking those deposits to the Federal Reserve Bank and saying, hey, look, we have all of these deposits. Can we get a loan from you? And it's called hypothecating your assets. So normally when you go to apply for a loan as a person, you have to pledge some form of collateral. You don't have possession of the collateral anymore. It's pledged. Or you can keep it, but you have to sign a note saying you won't use it for anything else. Banks don't actually have to give up the asset. So they're using a different term. It's called hypothecating. It's proving that they have the collateral, but they don't have to actually give it away. They're allowed to borrow up to three times any assets that they hypothecate. They borrow it at the federal funds reserve rate. We always are hearing about the Fed fund rate. And then they turn around with that three times money and they come back to us individuals and they lend us money. Student loans, car loans, mortgages, business loans, all come out of this pie. So they borrow money at, let's say, 5%, and then they lend money to us at a certain percentage. And any of you know what your rates are on credit cards, car loans, mortgages. They're making money on the spread. That is the core business of banking. Outside of that, there's all types of fees, as you know, for ATMs, for teller charges, for wires, for God knows what things. These are ancillary fees that they make and revenue that they make, but it's not their core business. I had to tell you that to say to you that charging me 30 cents per $100 for putting cash in their bank and taking it back out, to me, is just ridiculous. It's ludicrous. What's up, Ludacris? I'm down in the A. Got to shout out Ludacris. So it's ridiculous that they would do this. But once I learned my lesson, okay, don't deal with these cats with cash, which is ridiculous. But okay, I won't. I'm going to take the glasses off. I don't need them right now. And I got to wipe my brow. So today I had to put some money, and I'll just go into detail. I had to put $5,000 into my wife's business account. We have something that needs to be paid from that account. I learned my lesson about putting cash in. So I had money in my Wells Fargo business account. I didn't want to take the cash out and put the cash into hers. So I wrote a check from my Wells Fargo account to hers. Now, we all know there's fraud and all types of things in banking, and that banks have to be certain that when you write them a check, you have the money in your account to cover it. But you have my money. Like, you can check yourself. It's not like I'm writing them a check drawn on Bank of America or Truist or somewhere else. I'm writing a check from the Wells Fargo account that I have. And before you say, well, maybe the money wasn't there long. Money's been in there for months. I keep a nice balance in that account. They know what it is. They cleared half the check. And people, I write some big checks sometimes. This one wasn't that big. It was a $5,000 check. To me, that's not that big. They told me that $2,500 of it would be available right now and $2,500 tomorrow. Now, fortunately, I only needed $2,300 to be available, but not the point. I'm like, why are you guys taking money out of my account? That $5,000 is not available for me to use now, but not putting it available in the other business account. You're floating my money. May seem trivial and it's only for a day, but I know finance and this is a big deal. And they try to give me all type of explanations. And what really offended to me, the guy kept using the word regulations, regulatory. When you hear that, when the average person hears that, it makes you think that it's out of their hands, that the government is regulating, because that's what we hear, government regulatory arm and regulations. So they're passing the buck. I'm a little more educated in finance than the average person. So I asked them, I said, is this a government regulation? They go, no, it's a Wells Fargo regulation. So it's not a regulation, it's your policy. Your policy is to take my money that you already see and have, make sure I can't use it in my account because I've written a check, but not place it in the next bank account that's also on your premises. And, I had to walk out because I'm a big dude. I start arguing. I start using big words. My hands start flailing. Cops get called. Don't need that. I bounced. Woo! I was hot. And I have had issues with Wells Fargo over the years, over and over again. And I have to blame myself at some point. I believe in accountability. I have to close this account. Like, I cannot keep going through this. Why have I not closed the account? Let's talk about that for 2 seconds. Partly it's out of laziness. Let's start there. But the second part is, if any of you have ever opened a business account before, it's a lot of paperwork involved. I have to prove that I own the business. It's a lot of paperwork. My particular business account was opened in 2008. I don't have all the papers and forms that I had in 2008 when I walked over to Wells Fargo and opened the bank account. So every time I get mad and go to switch it somewhere else, I realize I got to go get a copy of my certificates of formation and all this other stuff. And I calm down and I don't do it. I'm going to make sure I do it as soon as 15 minutes of finance is over today while I'm still angry. and move forward because I cannot deal with Wells Fargo anymore. Now, that's what they did to me today and some of the things they've done to me. Let's talk about the big boy criminal stuff that Wells Fargo does. In 2020, Forbes reported that Wells Fargo paid $3 billion in fines for their fake account scandal. So there was this big thing in Wells Fargo. Customer service representatives and managers were incentivized to open up as many accounts as possible. It's how they got their bonuses. These fools were taking people's information that they had access to because you bank there. And let's say you had a checking account like I have. Now they have your social, your address. They have everything needed to open up an account. They were just randomly opening up accounts in people's names so that they could meet their quota. They got caught. They got fined $3 billion, slap on the wrist to a big behemoth like Wells Fargo. They didn't stop being criminals after that. Fox Atlanta reports in January 25th, 2023, Wells Fargo was fined $3.7 billion for illegal banking practices, namely against minorities, for home loans, auto loans, and banking practices. They were repoing people's cars, foreclosing on homes illegally. They got caught. They got fined $3.7 billion. So keep track, 3 billion, 3.7 billion. Now, just 3 months ago, March 30th, 2023, the Fed fined Wells Fargo, and I got two different conflicting numbers. Forbes says it's 97.8 million. This other source that I forgot to quote says it's 67.8 million, but you get the picture. They were fined for allowing a foreign bank to process over $500 million in prohibited transactions between 2010 and 2015. So they just letting people on the OPEC list do criminal stuff through the bank. They're making fees, and they're charging me $3 per 100, 30 cents per $100 to take money out of an ATM. Come on, Wells Fargo. You need to be stopped. You really, really need to be stopped. Some consumer advocacy group needs to picket you, go out there and shut you the hell down because you are on that BS. Change the Wells Fargo, change the WF to BS because y'all on that BS. I'm off it. I'm done. I'm good. I had to get it out. I got it out. I appreciate y'all listening. Don't bank at Wells Fargo. Tell your people don't bank at Wells Fargo. I don't care if you're black, white, old, young. They're going to get you. Don't deal with them. They're criminal banks. They're just bad. So with that being said, I thank you all for joining in. I miss you guys all the time. Tonight, I'll be back at 6 o'clock. As I said, it's a Financial Power Hour. And we're going to be back a week from now with a brand new 15 minutes of finance. We will have our music back. We'll have our intro and our outro. Our production team will be back. So with that being said, remember, wealth is not only for the wealthy. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great remainder of your day.